I think all ERPs now, have beautiful analytics, right? But this is not something that's going to show up necessarily, or even be able to be tracked, effectively. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous to these organizations. It is a true risk, right? It's a slow erosion that happens across really three dimensions. I think first is this overall, external consultant dependency, right? As stated earlier, our data is showing that on average, about 30 cents of every dollar spent on enterprise application is going to external partners. So you have 67% of organizations relying on consultants for 30% or more of their total spend. Now, I want to be clear, right? There's nothing wrong with using partners. That's my whole career, essentially up till now. But the issue is what they're being used for. When a significant chunk of that spend is just going towards regression testing, keeping the lights on, configuration validation, post-release support, that's not strategic advisory work. And I think in conversations that we have with customers and with partners, they want to be doing that strategic value add, higher level engagement with these organizations. And that's what organizations are desperate for, right? And what they're doing is just operational life support. It's not great for the partner because it commoditizes their team. So their best people end up doing this repetitive validation work instead of the transformation advisory work that actually differentiates the firm, and what most, folks are going into consulting and going into these strategic services are wanting to do. The second dimension, right, is this backlog growth and that release fatigue that you commented on earlier. 88%. I mean, almost all organizations have increased their cloud application investment year over year. All these organizations are spending more, but are they getting more? That some of that could be a bit subjective, and it could be, depending on, or change be different from organization to organization. But in many cases, no, because they can't operationalize the new features fast enough. I mean, we see organizations all the time. They went live back in 2019, 2022. It's now 2026, and there's upgrades that are happening. Really exceptional innovation. I mean, we haven't even really spoken about all the agentic AI capabilities that are now being brought to bear in these ERPs, and they're still trying to navigate, UI UX changes, right? Adding new fields and adding some, a few features here and there, but they haven't been able to adopt that, right? So those innovations are just sitting on a shelf, and that backlog grows. And I mean, you talk about that the tension. I mean, we talk to customers all the time. That tension is real. They know that they're not getting the full value, full investment in their cloud applications, and they're desperate to consume that and actually start to see that come bear fruit in their company, right? So the team is so busy keeping up with the mandatory updates that they never get to the optional ones that would actually drive real business value.